Welcome. Let's start with the economy, as government is insisting that recent GDP data shows that the economy has indeed turned things around and it's on path to recovery. According to Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, key structural reforms to support growth are beginning to yield positive results. The Finance Minister disclosed this when he addressed a joint press conference on IMF program and the state of the economy. Here's more.
The Finance Minister in the press conference said it is working to ensure further stability of the Ghana cedi. He said the ministry will further collaborate with the Bank of Ghana and other key stakeholders to address challenges affecting other sectors of the economy.
The implementation of the policies, measures, and interventions which we developed to address the economic challenges facing our dear nation are yielding positive results. Despite a challenging global environment, the strong leadership provided by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government, coupled with support and inputs of the people of Ghana, have undoubtedly contributed to the successes we are seeing today. It is our conviction that in the near term, we will see even greater results.
This is what the Finance Minister had to say on the IPPs.
I have read from the media yesterday the Chamber of IPPs disputing the assertion of our concluded negotiation with the IPPs. And I'm sure that he wasn't well informed at the time the chamber issued the statement. I want to repeat that. We've reached agreement with Amandi, Sen Power, Early Power, Senate, and AXA. We have 7 IPPs and we've reached agreement with 5 of them. That is very positive for our country. It tells us that the threats of shutting down power plants will be a thing of the past.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison said the central bank is also poised to work with government in ensuring a safe financial sector.
We need to begin to think of the third review of the program and beyond, and take advantage of the reform momentum. Steadfastness and commitment will be needed from now to the end of the year to see through all the structural reforms envisaged under the program, including the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana on the recapitalization of the central bank.
The International Monetary Fund Mission Chief to Ghana, Stefan Rude, says he's optimistic Ghana's economy will bounce back soon.
It is set to improve by another 1 percentage point this year, with Ghana posting a primary balance surplus. In other words, revenue will exceed non-interest for the first time in almost a decade. This has been achieved by mobilizing additional domestic revenue and by streamlining and improving the efficiency of public spending. Crucially, these interventions are accompanied by efforts to protect the vulnerable, who are most affected during adjustment programs.
Let's bring in the views of an economist. Professor Patrick Assuming joins us live via Zoom for some discussion on this. Thank you very much, Professor Assuming, for joining us. What's been your impression so far following the release of the money?
Good evening, and good evening to viewers. So I think, first of all, the Finance Minister shared a lot more detail than has been publicly available, especially with regards to the debt restructuring, the external debt restructuring, some of the progress that has been made. And I think that was very good and very, very positive. Especially, being able to put numbers on, what the savings are and, the plan going forward. And I think that was very informative. It was good to hear that there was a lot more detail. I think the expectation about what the 360 million will do for the economy is a little overstated. I think the 360 million, first, this is something that has not been in doubt for a while. We've been expecting that it will come. So you wouldn't expect that the market would have already priced that in. So you wouldn't expect that would make too much of a difference. Secondly, it is relatively small compared to the size of our current gross international reserve. The last information put forward by the Bank of Ghana suggests that the 360 million will be just about 6% of our gross reserve. So that in and of itself is not really going to make substantial difference in terms of even our reserve. So I think it's important that we don't raise expectation too much that the 360 million is going to solve our problem, because it wouldn't.
But both the IMF and government are hopeful that the funds to be released to BOG's account will help consolidate the macroeconomic gains we are witnessing. Are you confident? Do you think this is contrary to your own projections?
I don't think, or I don't read what they are saying to mean that it's the 360 million that will help, that will consolidate our gains. It wouldn't. I think it's probably a stronger commitment to making longer term reform that will change the structure of our economy. That's probably more important than the 360 million. To go a long way to shore up some of our reserves. But that impact is, like I said, is going to be very marginal. I think, there's been, the message that's been put out there in terms of the nature of our recovery of the economy is probably overstating it. Yes, the GDP number for this quarter, the first quarter of the year, was way higher than expected, but it's just one quarter. And even if you take a detailed look at the GDP number, you see that there are problems. So there are important sectors that are still seeing contraction, like the energy sector. It contracted about 7.5%, which doesn't bode well for going forward. So I think, yes, there are some positive signs, but we shouldn't, there's still a lot of work to be done before the economy will reach any path to sustainable recovery.
The IMF is, however, concerned about election-related spending, saying it's a major risk to Ghana's program. How best can we avoid this temptation of not staying fiscally prudent?
I think it's they are right to be concerned, and the signs, the early signs are not looking good. Even though the finance minister promises that there will be no fiscal slippages. I mean, our history doesn't tell us that. And then also some of the things that we've heard. For instance, last week or so, he was reported to be saying that there's going to be a second round of bailout, 1.5 billion, which clearly seemed to be, related to election related. And then, even though we keep saying we are implementing expenditure controls, we know that there's still a lot of laxity in our expenditure control system. So it's perhaps, I think it will take a little bit more vigilance from Ghanaians, and then also a little bit more from the IMF in terms of, frequency of their monitoring, because, don't forget that we've been under an IMF program before, and we still had the fiscal slippage. So personally, I don't feel too positive that we'll be able to avoid the slippages. I think it's just going to be a matter of to what extent.
Prof. Suman, what's going to be your projection in our subsequent reviews then?
I think so far, in terms of what you have to meet, it's been positive so far, and I expect that the next review will also be positive. But I think the next review is quite important because, we are going to get closer to the election. So if we get there and we see that we are still keeping within the program, I think that would be great.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor Patrick Esumeh. He is an economist and he helped us understand the gravity of what we just received. Moving on, Head of Asset and Liability Management at Ghana Commercial Bank, Ernest Chumbarima, has attributed the high non-performing loan ratio against banks to foreign currency denominated loans. According to him, the depreciation of the local cedi poses a huge risk for both customers and the banks over time. He spoke in an interview with Joy Business on the sidelines of the Financial Risk Forum in Accra.
The Financial Market Association hosted the Financial Risks Forum under the theme Understanding Ghana's Financial Risks Terrain, a Review and Forecast for 2024. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, Head of Asset and Liability Management at Ghana Commercial Bank, Ernest Chumberima, discussed the primary factors to the rising non-performing loan ratio among banks.
With regards to non-performing loans, I think one of the biggest ones has got to do with the wrong way risk. That is when credit assessors are not able to assess credit right by giving foreign currency loans to customers who do not actually earn foreign currency. When you do that and the cedi depreciates further, what gets to happen is that the customer, once the cedi gets further, the burden in terms of cedi becomes so much, and no matter what they do, it becomes so difficult for them to honor the obligations as and when it falls due.
Treasurer at the First Bank Ghana, Grace Ayi, encouraged banks to support the growth of the private sector.
That Bank of Ghana's or central banks focus on the banks to look at the businesses and to support private sector growth is critical in these times. And if that happens, we will spark the economy and we'll see some more.
The CEO of Sapon Capital, Kofi Sapon, urged the government to adhere to prudent financial measures under the IMF program.
And under the IMF program, we are required to be fiscally prudent. So how do we balance those two, meeting the IMF conditions and also being able to create some space for spending in an election cycle? So that is a big challenge that the country has to evaluate as it's going forward. But there is still some room for improvement. The growth that we saw many years back, probably 2021, in the post-COVID period, has disappeared. We'd like to be back there, and so we think that a bit more work has to be done to kickstart that growth.
President of the ACI Ghana, Lawrence Bwampon, took the opportunity to introduce the upcoming Financial Market Conference.
Our role in fostering an environment of trust and stability is more crucial now than ever. This conference promises to be a landmark event not only for Ghana, but for the entire African community. This conference will feature insightful panel discussions, an exhibition area, and a networking session.
The conference aims to bring together key players in the financial market from across the African continent.
Now, representatives of cement manufacturers who were expected to have a stakeholder meeting this morning with the Minister for Trade and Industry have boycotted the engagement due to the presence of the media at the premises of the ministry. According to the representatives, the meeting was expected to be a closed-door one, hence they won't participate in the presence of the media. My colleague Ibn Sabute was at the Trade Ministry's premises, and he joins us with what transpired. First, Ibn, give us a background to this meeting.
All right, so before we got here, a few weeks ago, we heard about the government's intention to lay an LI, a legislative instrument, to kind of regulate the pricing of cement in the country. The minority in parliament then raised concerns about it, that there were no engagement and there's the need for the minister to speak to the people, engage the manufacturers more. So the minister thought of this and then decided to have this engagement today. Even before that, according to the minister, there were several engagements. I mean, they gave us documents which indicated that as at 16th of January, there was a meeting. As at 8th of March, I mean, a committee was inaugurated to, kind of work on this LI. But some of the manufacturers were also saying that there was just little or no engagement. And therefore, the minister thought it wise to, kind of meet them today to have that JoJo or bring something to the table so that this issue can be kept. That's how come we're supposed to have the meeting today.
But what happened at the premises?
So when we got in there, I think there were just about 3 or 4 of the manufacturers around. I think I could see Diamond Cement, Gasem, and I think Super Cemas at the time. Then the question was, are you also coming for the meeting? And we're like, yeah, we're also coming for the meeting. And we indicated that we are from the media. They saw the cameras and they were like, no. You could see the uncomfort. Some of them were uncomfortable and all that. So we were invited to come for the meeting. So we didn't really feel any. We were just waiting for the time. They gave us 11 o'clock. We got there at 10:50. So we were sitting down. We were there when the minister came in and then went up so that the meeting could start. Later, they called us that we should come in. The minister explained to us that he wanted all of us, we, including the manufacturers, to have just a preliminary kind of introduction. Then afterwards, the media could be allowed to go. Then the manufacturers and the minister have their meeting, as we always do it at various events. But the manufacturers said no, they were not going to come in. So we waited for more than 10 minutes. They were not coming, and the Minister of Trade himself decided to, have some, can I say, press encounter or address us. I think we can listen to some of the things he was saying in the presser.
The cement industry is beginning to detect to the political head of the organization. I'm the political head of trade and manufacture in the country. They are beginning to dictate to me what they want. I don't think it is acceptable. They tell me if you are here, they would have no meetings with me. They do not have any intention of doing anything in the public. I don't do things in darkness. I am therefore entreating you, report to the public. I have done my best. I have consistently told the whole Ghana that I have had several meetings with these guys, and they wouldn't comply with my instructions. I have therefore decided to go the only way legal, and in these matters to go to Parliament. I intend to do. They have refused to meet me, even though they are in the building. They have refused because of your presence. I intend to tell them, well, to say good afternoon to them and to call off the meeting.
Did you find out why the minister failed to communicate with the manufacturers?
All right. So as he was trying to explain, from the beginning, they made him aware that he didn't engage them, as in the stakeholders. So he wanted them to know that, he wanted the whole public to know that there were several engagements, and today's own is part of that engagement. And that is why he invited the media in, because there were some of the engagement that the media was not there. So when they come out to tell us that, oh, they were not engaged, at least the public will believe. But today he wants everything to be open. Okay. And that is why he wanted the media to be there. But even that, he didn't want the media to be in from start to finish. He just wanted us to be in for the preliminary, session, and then he will allow us to go. But they couldn't participate in the meeting.
So what next?
Yes, he has been announcing some plans to officially lay the LI. I think we can listen to him in the next video.
Okay.
There'll be enough opportunity to put on the table what the ideas are for us to sanitize the system. It seems to be that it is their way or no other way. I think your expression is their way or the highway. I don't intend to accept any such attitude. So here we are. God willing, tomorrow I will make the effort officially to lay my LI. And this LI is seeking to regulate the pricing of cement in the country. I think it is atrocious to have a situation where every blessed minute there is increase in the prices of cement. I've just seen a little clip over here. I think it is by Joy FM, and it says that today is 1st of July. Where you got the information from, I'm not so sure. But I think my understanding is that it's from the manufacturers themselves or the association or whatever. And the clear message from what I've read is that get ready, there's going to be another increase from today. I'm not going to accept that.
Does it mean the meeting has been rescheduled?
Can I say yes and no? Because there will be another one tomorrow, but that one is between the Cement Manufacturers Development Committee and the Ghana Standards Authority with these manufacturers. So I'm not sure the minister will be there, but today's own was specifically between the minister and the manufacturers. So yes, in a way, the committee have representatives from the ministry. So I can say yes, there has been some kind of rescheduling for that meeting tomorrow.
Right. Thank you very much. Ebenezer Sabute is with the Joy Business Desk. You're still watching Business Live with me, Emma Davis. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome. A look at the rest of our stories. The Petroleum Commission says it is working to improve the gas export capabilities of the country. According to Director of Local Content at the Petroleum Commission, Govt, investments within the offshore sector have been modest, hence the need for a boost. He spoke to Joy Business at the 3rd Offshore Africa Energy Summit.
The summit was to explore measures to reform the fiscal regime in the oil and gas sector to safeguard it from the looming energy transitions and threat it poses to investment in the industry. Director of Local Content at the Petroleum Commission, Govt, said, given the potential in the sector, there were concerns that if the country does not make an effort to attract investment, some of its hydrocarbon resources could be stranded.
For the past few years, you want to look at the West African sub-region, in terms of the investment to oil and gas sector, the investment has been very modest. It's not only in Ghana. When you look at even in Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, Congo, Senegal, in Mauritania, and other countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, the investment has not been so encouraging. So it's not only a Ghana problem. However, there is a combination of many international factors, to the extent local factors. If you look at Ghana, for instance, for a period of about 2 or 3 years, we are having the issue on ATLOS, maritime boundary dispute with Cote d'Ivoire. We also try to look at the improve the gas export capability of the country.
That'll be all for Business Live. For more news, please do log on to myjoyonline.com, and our top stories there are 2024 elections, IMF concerned about impact on Ghana's economic recovery program, T-bills auction, government borrowed 17.22 billion cedis in June 2024, 9.55% more than the month of May. That's all, and that's how we part May. That's all, and that's how we part company. I am Emma Davis. Do have a lovely evening.